Everybody, I got bad news. We've been cancelled.
Oh no, Angie, how could they do that?
Unfortunately, Ava, there's just no more. We've just got to accept the fact that Indiana has to make room for terrific TV personalities. Like Melissa Long, Mary Collins, Kenny Berg, Jim Blue, Kristen Kerchang, Deborah Daniel, Cindy Ward, Ryan Elijah, Beth Vaughn, Olivia McClellan, Chris Prophet, Edward Moody, Gabby Gonzalez, Dan Ball, Erica Fly, Will Hampton, Dan Ball, Gina Glaros, Kristen Mazur, Krista Miller, Lori Wilson, Walt Mack, Courtney King, and Jonathan Kander.
Is there any hope?
Well, I suppose if all those journalists leave the state, we might have a shot.
You're watching ABC 21, your weather authority.
Right now at 5, your voice, your vote. ABC 21 is your election headquarters, what you need to know before Election Day.
And new buses for one Allen County district. Jeff Newmeyer shows us what makes these different.
We'll see some pretty pleasant weather through midweek, but that is temporary. We're looking at some pretty cold weather, too, for next week, and I'll have more details about that coming up in just a few minutes.
From WPTA, your weather authority, this is ABC 21 News at 5.
Early voting has come to an end. Thank you for choosing us tonight. I'm Brian McElhatton.
And I'm Caitlin Kendall. As of noon, early voting in Fort Wayne City election has closed. If you didn't get a chance to cast your ballot early, polls will open tomorrow at 6 in the morning and continue through 6 tomorrow night. The Allen County Election Board did say there were hundreds who took advantage of early voting.
It's definitely up. We've got, as of the end of our satellite voting, we voted over 10,000 people on the early voting and at the satellites. And then we have over 4,000 ballots that we've sent out by mail. So that is significantly up from previous municipal elections.
And before you get in the car and head off to the polls tomorrow, make sure you are eligible to vote. Beth DeLug says hundreds were turned away this weekend from polling places because they didn't live within city limits.
So it's a municipal election and for small towns. So make sure you live in the boundaries of the city or the town. So it's Monroeville, Leo Cedarville, New Haven, and Fort Wayne. And there's a lot of questions about some people who have a Fort Wayne address or a New Haven address and they still believe that they're in the city limits. It may not necessarily be true. So just double check before you walk out the door to make sure that you actually are in the city limits. If you have any questions at all, of course, you can call us.
Like she just mentioned there, you can call the Allen County Board our election board at 449-7329. That number is on your screen again. It's 449-7329. And don't forget, if you are voting a straight party line ticket, either for the Democrats or the Republicans, things are a little different this year. You must go to page 2 of the ballot and cast your vote individually for the at-large candidates running for city council. That's due to a change in state law. Instructions will be posted on the monitor screens and poll workers can answer your questions, but they're not allowed to warn you about individually selecting city council at-large candidates.
Oh, you can't vote if you don't have an ID, of course, and the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles is adding extra hours to make sure you have what you need before Election Day. Most BMV offices are open through 8 o'clock tonight, then again tomorrow from 6 until 6. They'll process new, amended, or replacement ID cards and licenses, and that will help smooth things along at polling locations. The BMV also provides free ID cards that can be used by residents at least 18 years old who plan to cast a ballot. And once you have that ID in hand, you still may need a ride to the polls to cast that ballot. CityLink is helping with that. Thanks to the AWS Foundation, the city bus service will operate fare-free tomorrow. The free services run from 5:30 in the morning until 9:30 in the evening. If you're not sure when to catch the bus, you can head to WPTA21.com/elections.
Early voting is also over in Huntington. The Huntington County Clerk's Office says nearly 2,000 county residents took advantage of early voting to cast their ballots on 2 school referenda. one for $68 million on repairs to Huntington North High School. A second referendum deals with teacher retention and school safety and hiring more resource officers. On that question, the district is asking for $8 million. If passed, property owners in Huntington County will see a 34-cent increase on their tax rate per every $100 of net assessed value. ABC 21 is your election headquarters. We'll have special coverage of the municipal elections throughout Northeast Indiana beginning at 5 o'clock.
Well, Congressman Jim Banks will soon have a Democratic challenger. Norwell High School teacher Chip Coldiron says he plans to make it official November 13th at the Wells County Public Library in Bluffton. In a news release from his campaign, Coldiron says he's a veteran of the Army, deployed twice to Afghanistan, and has also served in hospitals throughout the state as a healthcare worker.
A man wanted for attempted murder is now in police custody. Sources tell ABC 21 that Carlos Avila was picked up this afternoon. He's tied to a July 4th shooting near Hobson Road that left one person in serious condition. This is a developing story, and we are working to learn more.
A Fort Wayne police officer was dragged by a car early Saturday morning, and today we're learning the name of the suspect. Police say it was 23-year-old Randy Reiser of Illinois. Just after 7:30 Saturday morning, an officer checked on a person slumped over in a truck. Well, the officer realized Reiser had an active warrant for his arrest and that the truck was stolen. Police say he drove off and the officer was caught between the truck's frame and the door, and the officer was dragged a short distance, leaving her with scrapes and a lost contact lens.
Yeah, and it's easy to get caught up once you're inside that, if your arms in a steering wheel or your arms, locked into someone, or they might even have a hold of you. So I mean, it wasn't the case in this time, which is grateful, but it's not ever, I hear people all the time, well, just let go. Well, sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes you're just caught up on something inside the car, or someone has a hold of a part of your body part that they won't let go of.
Police say Reiser's stolen truck either broke down or ran out of gas along I-69, and a well-meaning driver picked him up and took him elsewhere.
Fort Wayne police need your help identifying a purse snatcher who they say used the credit cards he found inside the bag. Take a close look at your screen. They say it was August 24th when the suspect entered a home in the 1100 block of DeGroff Street in the early morning hours and stole the victim's purse. Police then said he used the victim's credit cards at various locations. If you know who this person is, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Well, today we're getting a first look at one of 9 new school buses that will soon carry children to Northwest Allen County schools.
Jeff Newmeyer has more on new safety features built in to protect the valuable cargo.
You're on.
They christened ships by breaking bottles of champagne over them. Carroll middle schoolers' lunchtime put a twist in the script, tossing chocolate milk all over a new school bus that will go into the rotation next week. This one's going to need a trip through the car wash first.
It's just fun to kind of ruin the bus because we have to behave on the bus, so it's kind of just fun to do something different.
The price tag on this one, about $105,000. They come with some bells and whistles.
Remote controlled mirrors, heated mirrors, air seats.
District Transportation Director Tom North says seat belts are a must on any new buses purchased. Federal law now requires higher backs on the seats, making it harder for bus drivers to see over them. That's why this new bus has 9 cameras providing an unobstructed view basically of every seat in the passenger area. Those cameras, in the event of some problem, document what the students did and how a driver responded.
I don't have to rely on getting stories straight. I can pull the tapes and see exactly what happened. And if someone were to levy some kind of unwarranted accusation against myself, I do have that footage there to back me up.
The seatbelt's a big deal. It was just a few weeks ago, an incident in Noble County. The value of the seatbelts was demonstrated. Kindergartners through second graders were riding on a bus near Pleasant Lake that veered off the pavement and went down an embankment, rolling on its side. It could have been a nightmare scenario, but only 3 of 31 kids suffered even minor scrapes. The good outcome credited to the fact that all had their safety belts buckled.
They're not debris flying around running into each other.
And the safety belts are designed to keep accidents from happening in the first place.
Having the kids seat belted in the seats while the driver is driving a route, the driver will less likely take their eyes off the road to look up in the mirror to see what's going on. That's the #1 cause of accident is driver distraction.
The district expects to have the entire fleet of buses outfitted with seat belts in about 5 years. Jeff Newmeyer, ABC 21.
To politics now, and the impeachment inquiry continues at a rapid pace while there's still no timeline for open hearings.
And the three committees leading the probe have begun releasing transcripts of those closed-door depositions. ABC's Serena Marshall reports.
As four key witnesses defy congressional subpoenas.
Based on the testimony the committees have already received, we know that these witnesses are first-hand witnesses to allegations of serious misconduct.
The transcripts of the depositions that have happened behind closed doors being made public by the three committees leading the impeachment inquiry. Releasing a former senior advisor to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Michael McKinley's transcript.
In reading his transcript, his growing alarm at the degree to which the apparatus of the State Department itself was being used to seek political information for a political purpose.
And from former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, where according to the transcript, she outlines a smear campaign against her by presidential allies. Yovanovitch telling lawmakers she was told that they were planning to do things, including to me, and that a senior Ukrainian official told her that I really need to watch my back, specifically referencing the two Giuliani associates now indicted for campaign finance violations, Igor Fruman and Lev Parnas.
She was working with Ukraine to get Ukraine to fight corruption. And so what does this irregular back channel sanctioned by the president do? It seeks to remove someone fighting corruption in Ukraine.
The two transcripts, the first of more than a dozen separate interviews of top White House and State Department aides involved in handling Ukraine policy, likely to become public, something Republicans have called for, but today arguing the piecemeal release, not good enough.
It's important that we release all the transcripts, release them all at the same time.
The transcripts for Ambassadors Sondland and Volker are expected to be released sometime tomorrow. As for when those open hearings are scheduled to begin, Chairman Schiff simply said soon, but wouldn't give a timeline. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
Today, former Fort Wayne resident and columnist E.J. Carroll sued President Trump for defamation over what she says were his lies about her sexual assault allegation against him. In a book excerpt, Carroll says Trump raped her in a luxury department store dressing room in the 90s. Trump called her account totally false and says he has never met her. In a New York Supreme Court lawsuit, Carroll sues Trump's responses false and defamatory. Mark Kasowitz, an attorney for Trump, did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment.
As the news continues tonight, they hope to become Fort Wayne firefighters, and the latest recruit class has a new training tool. Bryn Rose shows us how it works. Well, Fort Wayne's newest class of firefighters is the first to use a new structure to help them learn how to fight the flames.
It's pretty cool, and ABC 21's Corinne Rose is here to show us more. Corinne?
For safety reasons, the previous training structure on Dwenger Avenue has not been able to have fires inside it for several years. So this class of recruits is the first to use converted shipping containers as spaces to fight real fires. A grant from the State Department of Homeland Security helped the city purchase and upcycle the used shipping containers to configure into a two-story structure with walls, doors, and windows for live fire training. Considering Fort Wayne has the second largest firefighting department in the state, previously instructors had to coordinate other opportunities to get academy classes some real-world firefighting experience before they graduated.
We've had to do live fire training in acquired structures, so residential structures that we have secured from the community, or we've had to travel to one of these other fire departments that had a similar facility or a dedicated burn facility.
We were able to manipulate the buildings or rooms in there a little bit to kind of control the fire, but yet at the same time give them a realistic view of how fire behaves, fire reacts, with introducing air and things like that by opening and closing doors.
Before these recruits graduate, they will also fight a fire that will be set in a home scheduled for demolition for some more real-world training.
Well, it sounds like a great training opportunity there on Dwenger Avenue. Yeah.
Absolutely, and more shipping containers already being budgeted for next year. And this is really cool. They're going to be set up, one of the groups of them set up as a cul-de-sac, and another one in a row, like a strip mall. So that's going to give next year's Fire Academy class even more opportunities to learn how fires grow and then move in different spaces or can spread somewhere. So I thought that was really neat.
That's really cool.
They do have the money in the budget, and they're going to get that hopefully implemented starting sometime next year.
That real world experience, the hands-on activity learning is...
Have to have it.
Yeah, absolutely, Corinne. Thank you.
Sure.
Well, today, a holiday tradition returns to the Embassy Theater. Not today, sorry. Fort Wayne's annual Festival of Trees will take place from November 27th through December 4th. The lobbies of the theater and adjoining Indiana Hotel will once again be transformed into the Christmas tree wonderland with this year's theme, Holiday Memories. Admission will include a visit with Santa and Mrs. Claus, of course, and guests will be entered once again by various performers on the big stage. ABC 21 is proud to sponsor that event again. Be sure to look out for our decorated tree when you go.
Yes, our tree is unique this year because we have they found pictures of us as little
Yes.
kids at Christmas and put them on the tree. So I can't wait to see yours, Matt.
We all
Yeah, yours are
contributed,
good.
right?
We all did. We all contributed. All of our childhood memories, and
I'm sure yours is good too.
mine are funny, I guess.
I submitted 3. I don't know which one they'll go with, but they all were kind of weather themed, out in the snow or
Okay.
yeah. I was Joseph for the nativity play when I was in preschool. You know, there are a couple that they could choose from.
Sure.
But in any case, it's going to feel a lot more like the holidays here.
Oh yeah, let's get to that.
Yeah, especially by next week. Now, in the meantime, let's not rush ahead. We're not done with the 50s. No, pleasant weather is expected through Wednesday. And then rain and snow is possible late week. Right now, it's not looking like much. I mean, maybe just a few rain and snow showers at this point. No accumulations expected. But some bitter Arctic air is likely next week. We'll get a little taste of it by the end of this week, especially Friday. But I really think the worst of it is going to arrive early next week, right around Veterans Day, and then continuing through the rest of the second week of November. Again, we'll get to that more in a second. Storm track radar showing mostly cloudy skies now. A few showers and sprinkles certainly possible across the region. Most of this isn't really quite hitting the ground, but as we kind of tilt the map here and take a look at what's going on regionally, there's a few light rain showers just north of St. Louis, south of Indy. That's really where most of the rain's going to be this evening. If we see any showers this far north, they will likely be just sprinkles. They shouldn't really impact your evening plans. 53 degrees right now in Fort Wayne, 49 in Chicago, 50 in Peoria. You can kind of see the blues to the north and to the west. We do have a westerly wind between about 10 to 15 miles per hour, not necessarily bringing in much in the way of cold air, but there's plenty to work with over the next several days. Doesn't really look too cold now, 18 in Winnipeg. That's pretty normal for early November, but we're going to start seeing a lot of this colder air begin to expand across Manitoba, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and that is actually going to be that cold air source that we have to work with late this week and into early next week. So just another thing to keep in mind. We always look up north to see exactly how cold it is and how cold it could be. Now, future track temperatures put us into the low to mid 30s overnight tonight. It will be pretty chilly, but tomorrow afternoon we should get right back up into the mid to upper 40s with partly sunny skies. So more sunshine tomorrow. And then as we head into Wednesday morning, a little bit of a colder start, but again by Wednesday afternoon, warmer still. Temperatures likely in the low to mid 50s by Wednesday afternoon. This could be the last time we get this mild for perhaps a week or more. Take a look at future track temperatures. So by Thursday afternoon, temps are going to be back into the upper 30s, so seasonably cold, not extreme, into the upper 30s to low 40s on Friday, and this continues through a good part of the weekend too. In fact, highs could get back up into the 40s by the weekend, but by Veterans Day, Monday, we'll see those temperatures possibly into the upper 20s by noon, by lunchtime, teens to the north and to the west, and then through a good part of next week, high temperatures struggling each day to get right around freezing. So this Arctic air definitely looks like it's going to be making a visit here. The November temperatures average is about 41 degrees. That's the average high and low combined. So this would certainly be much below that average. And then our average snowfall for November is 2.1 inches. Right now, because of the Arctic origins of this cold air, it looks like it's going to be kind of dry cold, not a lot of, wet systems bringing in lots of snow. But we could perhaps get close, if we can see some stronger systems, to our average November snowfall within the next couple of weeks. If you want to know what the rest of the winter has in store, not just November, tune into our winter weather special. That will air Tuesday, November 26th at 7 p.m. Let's hope it actually warms up a little bit before then, but we'll have a better idea of exactly what the entire winter has in store at that point. In the meantime, the next 7 days, partly sunny skies, low 50s on Wednesday, a mix of rain and snow possible Thursday with a high of about 40, mid 30s on Friday, and then back to a mix of rain and snow Sunday before the cold air arrives early next week as highs only reach about 32.
Oh, don't say Matt didn't warn you. That's coming.
That's right.
It's coming. All right, still to come tonight, an arrest warrant for late library books. Can you imagine? Yeah, one woman found out about it the hard way.
Well, it's one thing to find out you owe a library fine for a book you forgot to return, right?
Well, one Michigan woman found out there was a warrant for her arrest. Megan Heiler reports.
I really don't think that going to jail over those 2 books is okay, and I definitely didn't want to steal their property.
The mother of 5 didn't even know she had the books until she visited the library a few months back. She was told she couldn't use their printer until she returned them. So Sanders called her fiance at the time to check their son's bookshelf. And sure enough, they were right there. She said she went home, grabbed them, and returned them to the library and assumed she would get a notice about the late fees.
And I assumed that they had sent it to collections and that I would see it on my report or, you know, something like that. I had no idea that criminal charges were going to be pressed.
But that's exactly what happened. Sanders didn't even know there was a warrant for her arrest until her boss called her after doing a background check that she needed for a promotion.
My boss called me on Tuesday to inform me that I had a warrant, and I had to pull over because I started laughing, and then he was like, "No, I'm serious." And I was like, no, there's no way. Like, there's no way I have a warrant.
I called the Charlotte Library to try and get some answers. They said they can't comment on individual cases, but told me late notices go out after a few weeks, a month, 3 months, and again at 4 months. But Sanders never got them because she was moving a lot while trying to get out of an abusive relationship.
Any mail that was there, I didn't get. Soon I ended up in the Siren shelter that's here in Charlotte, which helps with domestic violence victims. And your address is confidential. You know, I had to change my phone number. I had to change my entire life.
After a court date, getting fingerprinted, and a whole lot of anxiety, Sanders is stuck waiting for her next court date and hopes the charges will get dropped.
It's just ridiculous. Like, there is no reason why this needs to be happening. Like I said, they would have had a better chance of getting their money if they would have sent me to collections because I would have known.
Sanders' next court date is set for November 7th. She's charged with failure to return rental property, which carries a maximum penalty of 93 days in jail and a $500 fine. Sanders says she can't work for her current employer until this case is settled.
All over libraries.
Yep.
Wow. All right, when we come back tonight, why is heart disease killing even more Americans now? What doctors have to say next.
Tuesday at 6.
In a couple of minutes, I qualified for $50,000. I thought, okay, this sounds suspicious already.
ABC 21's Caitlin Kendall is digging deeper to expose local scams that could be cheating you out of hard-earned cash.
I had to pay $500 more. It's a big scam.
Now, learn how you can stay one step ahead of the crooks.
Anytime you have to pay up front for a grant, no, stop. That's a red flag.
Find out how you can prevent being scammed. Tuesday at 6, only on ABC 21.
A new study shows e-cigarettes aren't a gateway to teen smoking. This was published in the medical journal Nicotine and Tobacco Research. The new research found teens who experiment with vaping are more likely to try cigarettes. But vaping first does not increase the odds that they'll become smokers. The study calls into question earlier research that's linked e-cigarettes to smoking. This time, researchers used complex statistical analysis. They took into account pre-existing differences among teens like race and gender. They also looked at behavioral information like being disciplined at home or how often the teens took risks. It's the #1 killer of Americans, and now a new study shows deaths from heart disease are on the rise again. Mandy Gaither has more in today's Health Minute.
After more than a half-century of decline, deaths from heart disease and heart failure are on the rise again. In a new study published in the Cardiology Journal of the American Medical Association, researchers found the number of heart disease-related deaths went up by 8.5% from the start of 2011 to the end of 2017. In that same time period, the number of deaths from heart failure increased by 38%. Heart failure is a common chronic complication of heart disease that occurs when the heart can't pump enough blood. The rise due in part to obesity and diabetes and the rapidly aging population, which is most at risk for heart disease. 80% of those heart disease deaths were among people 65 and older. Researchers say by 2030, the population will have a projected 44% increase in adults over 65, and focus now needs to be on prevention and treatment to slow heart-related death rates. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
All aboard the time train, and you, yes, that's probably what it sounds like.
Probably.
And you better hop on before it pulls out of the station.
Fall brings many changes to Indiana.
Changing leaves.
Shorter days, cooler temperatures.
And of course, changing weather. And you need to know what's coming next.
How long will we keep those beautiful fall colors?
Will it be sweater weather or a warm taste of summer? And when will we see those first snowflakes?
Whatever fall throws your way, we've got you covered.
Every morning.
Every weekend.
And every evening, right here on ABC 21, your weather authority.
Face it, your 10 p.m. routine could use a little excitement.
Wake 'em up.
ABC's got you covered with groundbreaking, award-winning dramas.
Cool.
This is exactly where you want to be.
So grab the remote and kick back. Why end the night when 10 p.m. is when awesome begins?
You're watching Fort Wayne's only local newscast at 5:30. Let's check your top stories now. Early voting at Fort Wayne city election has closed, and if you didn't get a chance to cast your ballot early, polls will open tomorrow at 6 in the morning and continue through 6 tomorrow night. The Allen County Election Board did say there were hundreds who've taken advantage of early voting. And before you get into the car and head off to the polls tomorrow, make sure you're eligible to vote. The Director of Elections, Beth DeLug, says hundreds were turned away this weekend from polling places because they didn't live within city limits. And don't forget, if you're voting a straight party line ticket, either for the Democrats or the Republicans, things are a bit different this year. You must go to page 2 of the ballot and cast your vote individually for the at-large candidates running for city council. That's due to a change in state law. Instructions will be posted on those monitor screens, and poll workers can answer your questions, but they're not allowed to warn you about individually selecting city council at-large candidates. And of course, you can't vote if you don't have an ID, and the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles is adding extra hours to make sure you have what you need before you vote. Most BMV offices are open through 8 o'clock tonight and then again tomorrow from 6 until 6. They'll process new, amended, or replacement ID cards and licenses, and that'll help smooth things out at the polling locations. The BMV also provides free ID cards that can be used by residents at least 18 years old who plan to cast a ballot.
An admission of guilt from a Fort Wayne woman accused of robbing and beating a woman who her boyfriend is later accused of killing. Tiana Housey, in for a change of plea hearing. She entered a guilty plea to the charge of assisting a criminal and battery. Police say her boyfriend, Leon Lumpkin, hit the woman in the head with a gun 3 times and held her at gunpoint while Housey battered her. Housey then took the woman's purse and stole cash and a debit card. A trip to the gas station will cost you slightly more. According to Gas Buddy, a gallon of regular will cost you around $2.50, about 10 cents higher than the previous week. And enjoy the lower prices while we have them. According to Gas Buddy, ahead of Thanksgiving, last week's oil jump may derail falling gas prices. Though we still may see prices drift lower, the good economic news means prices will not drop as much as they could have otherwise.
Grant County Police need your help tonight finding a wanted man. Police say 39-year-old Nathan Whitehead has active warrants out for theft and failure to appear. If you know where this man is, you're asked to call police at the number at the top of your screen.
More than 400 Oklahoma inmates are being released today. Their non-violent crimes like low-level property crime and simple drug possession made less serious by criminal justice reform.
ABC's Romina Puga has more on what led to this historic mass release.
A day of emotional reunions and new beginnings in Oklahoma. More than 400 inmates are being released as part of the state's criminal justice reform.
Oh my gosh, she's taller than me.
Inmates walking out to greet their families and new freedom.
They have to say thank you for giving me my mom back.
This is the first day of the rest of your life. How you doing?
I'm good. Oklahoma's governor greeted inmates as they were released from a women's prison.
Hi, my baby.
The move was voted on by the state's Pardon and Parole Board on Friday.
It's been carried by a vote of 5-0.
Granting commutations to 527 inmates who were sentenced for nonviolent crimes, 462 of those scheduled for release today.
It means everything to me. I'm going to go out there and change my life and be a positive influence on my daughter.
This was a huge first step in the right direction for criminal justice reform.
The move is expected to save Oklahoma taxpayers nearly $12 million, and the Pardon and Parole Board hope it's a step the rest of the country will follow. Romina Puga, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Rudy Bushi, a contestant on the first season of the CBS-related show Survivor, has died. Various media outlets report he lost a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. The SEAL Veterans Foundation said Master Chef was a legend in the SEAL and Special Operations community, adding that he served in the Navy from 1944 to 1990. Survivor's executive producer said the reality show's family has lost a legend. He said that he was one of the most iconic and adored Survivor players of all time. And as a 45-year Navy SEAL, he was a true American hero. He was 72 years old when he first played in the show in Brno in 2000 and came in third. He was on the show again on the All-Star edition in 2004 at the age of 75. He died at the age of 91.
A small plane made an emergency landing on a Long Island beach this afternoon. The FAA said the Cessna 150 landed in Point Lookout, about 9 miles east-southeast of John F. Kennedy Airport, around 2:20 this afternoon. The aircraft departed from Stevensville, Maryland, bound for MacArthur Airport in Islip. At this point, it does not appear there were any injuries. The FAA, of course, will investigate. Now, an ABC 21 recall alert. More than 100 vegetable products are being recalled tonight because of listeria concerns. A notification was issued by the FDA and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency for possible contamination with listeria bacteria called monocytogenes. The recalled packages have a sell-by date of November 16, 2019, and include some varieties of Mann's, H-E-B, Del Monte, and Trader Joe's. So far, no reported illnesses associated with the use of these products so far. An estimated 1,600 people are infected by listeriosis every year. About 260 die, according to the CDC.
Times change and tastes change, even out in 21 countries.
True. Eric Olson's here tonight with a miniature example of what we're talking about, Eric.
Well, Brian, in some things you're happy to wave goodbye to, others not so much. We're hoping some friends of ours up in Angola won't have to do it. They crisscrossed America for 100 years, belching steam and smoke and building the country as they went. Just a handful of steam locomotives still run, mostly on tourist excursions, but their legend lives on in one spot out in 21 country.
It's like any other hobby. It just depends on how fancy you want to get and how much you want to spend.
The Puffer Bellies are running in Angola, Indiana, at headquarters for Tri-State Station, a model railroad club struggling to stay on track. Over the years, Tri-State members have hand-built a miniature world of railroad towns, businesses, incredible countryside of hills and mountains, trees, rivers, and rocks, an elaborate playground for some overgrown kids.
It is mostly older people, but we do have a few younger members and even some teenagers.
Tri-State has layouts from small HO gauge trains up to the big G scale, with all sorts of miniature extras that a little imagination can make real. The walls are lined with hundreds of engines and cars, some worth $1,000 or more, most of them donated to the club. Members refurbish the donations and sell them to raise money. And therein lies the rub: money and membership. 20% of Tri-State's budget comes from dues. The rest has to be raised. And as members get older, that gets tougher.
As we die off, if we can't replace membership, then it's eventually going to just die. And we are actively seeking new members. We would like very much to get new people in here to help run the place, and mainly just to keep it going.
Video games and other diversions are more popular with kids today than model trains, but if they just dropped by this place, got up close and personal with this kid-sized world, interest might return. In the meantime, these aging boys will keep building layouts, rebuilding engines and cars, and hope others will rediscover what they already know, that this hobby can be rewarding and a lot of fun. The question is, will the younger generation catch on before that train leaves the station?
How fun is that?
So neat.
Yeah, I'm not really into model trains. I had one as a kid, but I'll tell you, you go up there and you spend more time than you expected looking at those things and getting down at there than kind of fantasizing at what it's all about. But it's really cool.
This can be fun to build a layout. And
how big is like the room that these are in? Is it?
It's pretty good size. This used to be a store at a small mall. But, you know, this hobby's like a lot of them, you know, like classic car restoration, that kind of thing, collect a car. It's the older generation is the one that's really into it, and hopefully some kids will come along.
It's an awesome...
Like you guys.
There we go.
Maybe.
You know, I have an old HO scale train set at home. I need to bring it out of the mothballs.
Was it yours as a kid?
It was, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Eric, thank you.
Sure.
Still to come here on ABC 21 News at 5. It's been a chilly day across 21 country, but cooler temperatures for tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Matt Leach is in next with your full forecast.
21 Country is brought to you by Three Rivers Federal Credit Union.
Welcome back. Mary Nixon saying it's time to rake, but she was having some fun doing it, making a little smiley face in the leaves. You know, this weekend was a pretty busy time to get some of those leaves raked up after the Halloween snow and wind. It kind of helped kind of bring a lot of those leaves down, still kind of a ways to go. But thanks, Mary, for the reminder. And if you're looking for some time to rake it up over the next several days, tomorrow and Wednesday look pretty good. In fact, temperatures should be reasonable, mid-40s to mid-50s, really no rain. But Thursday, there's a chance for a little bit of rain and snow, and it's going to be cloudier, a little colder and windier. So if you can do this Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to be better off. Don't wait till Thursday to get the leaves raked up. All right, storm track radar. You can actually see the jet stream here as it's moving through like Rapid City, down through Omaha, St. Louis, and then just south of Fort Wayne. Keeping things generally pretty cool, not cold, but cool, with the temperatures into the 50s, a little bit cooler than normal right now, although the actual high temperature today was right about normal. 53 in Fort Wayne, but 49 in Chicago, 50 in Peoria, 57 in Cincinnati. We made it up to 56 for a high after a low of 43, and our average for this time of year is actually 56, although our average low temperature is 37, so we were a little bit warmer than that. Our record 76 set back in 2015, just 4 years ago. Temperatures were close to 80 at this time. Record low 15 set back in 1951. And did you know, and we didn't see any snow today, but we've seen a little bit this fall already. Half an inch of snow fell on Halloween night. The normal for this date is 0.4 inches of snowfall. So we're actually running above normal for the season so far. Taking a look at snow depth across the country, not a whole lot that's still remaining on the ground. It's still pretty early to actually have snow sticking around for weeks on end. But we tend to look up to the north, not only for colder air, but for snow cover, because the more snow that we can get to stick into southern Canada, the better chance we have reinforcing cold air to work with as the months progress. So far that snowpack is building and will likely continue to do so here over the next several weeks, allowing for more cold air opportunities this far south. Precip not looking too bad over the next several days. Partly to mostly cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Wednesday, very similar story, partly to mostly cloudy. A little bit of rain and snow possible well to our north. We're going to be on the warmer side of that system and drier side too, with just mostly cloudy skies expected. Now, Future Track does show our next chance of precip likely arriving Thursday, meeting up with some southern moisture, but some colder air building in from the north. That's going to combine to create the chance for a little bit of maybe of a wet snow, rain snow mix Thursday afternoon into the early evening. If this really happens in the middle of the day, as we're seeing advertised here, there's probably a better chance it's actually more of a rain mix, but still, we could see some wintry weather midday Thursday, and then again, as we head over the weekend, we could perhaps see just a brief shower of rain, perhaps a little bit of snow on the back end of that system as we head into Sunday. And then by early next week, look at this wind direction. You see how the snow just kind of begins to move off the lakes and then moves to the south and to the east. This is pretty common this time of year, the lake effect snow, and that's possible for early next week as temperatures plummet early next week into the upper 20s to low 30s for daytime high temperatures. It's definitely looking like our first true winter chill is likely for the second full week of November. You can see that here on the 7-day. We start off in the mid 40s to mid 50s. A mix is possible Thursday, and then temperatures really tumble by the end of the week and especially early next week, with high temperatures at best getting in the low 30s, and wind chills, by the way, early to midweek next week may only be in the single digits.
That means I can put out my Christmas decorations, right?
You have permission. Halloween's done.
Oh, Matt gave me permission.
Yes.
But we have Thanksgiving first, though.
It's okay.
That's true.
Do we just skip over that?
No, we don't have to skip over it, but if it's going to feel like Christmas, can't we just
I feel like
have
a lot of
Christmas
people tend to just kind of decorate for both. But
Yeah.
you do you.
That's
You do
right.
you. Whatever
That's
you
right.
want to do.
To each their own.
Yes.
Now it's time for a live look at traffic with WOWO's Brian Davis. Hi, Brian.
Hey, good afternoon. Well, it's been a bad afternoon if you're on Bass Road. We've got 2 separate crashes reporting in out there that's got traffic snarled up. One at Bass Road and Flaw, one at Bass and Thomas, so use alternates if possible there. We've also got a crash at Auburn Road and Wallen Road. Traffic also backed up Washington Center and St. Joe Center roads at North Clinton in both directions. That's just a mess because of the construction there, so you're best off to avoid that area if possible. If you see a tie-up or crash, give us a call in the WOWO newsroom at 447-NEWS. That's 447-6397. I'm Brian Davis with WOWO's Time Saver Traffic on ABC 21.
All right, Brian, thank you. Still to come here, an ABC 21 scam alert. How con artists are taking hundreds of dollars from their victims.
Well, the Better Business Bureau is warning of a scam in which con artists impersonating cable company reps claim to offer you a great deal on your service. Here's how it works. You get an unsolicited call offering a special promotion on your cable bill. If you pay for a few months up front, you get a discounted monthly rate. You're then asked to buy prepaid debit cards. That should be the giveaway to make the upfront payment. Never do that, folks. The Better Business Bureau recommends being cautious when answering those unsolicited calls or emails and verifying the ID of someone who shows up at your doorstep. Also, when in doubt, verify special deals with your cable company and never, ever make payments with those prepaid debit cards or wire transfers. How much debt will you take on this holiday season? A new report from creditcards.com finds millennials are most tolerant in accruing debt this time of year. More than half believe the holidays are an acceptable excuse to rack up that credit card debt, and 3 in 5 are willing to go into the red. Just 38% of Gen Xers and 28% of baby boomers say the same thing. On Wall Street today, the markets finished the day up. The Dow Industrials were up 114, the NASDAQ closed up 46, and the S&P 500 closed up 11. We'll be right back. Caught on camera now, a barge stuck on the rocks above Niagara Falls for more than a century finally dislodged.
And on Halloween, of all days, strong winds and heavy rains moved the dumping scow from its perch, where it's been since 1918. A century ago, 2 men were rescued from it as it became stranded on the rocks during a dredging operation. Niagara officials are now monitoring the barge's position in case it shifts again.
It'd be wild to see it go over.
Yeah.
A California transit employee hailed a hero for rescuing a man who fell onto the tracks as the train was approaching the platform. That's hard to watch. It was a dramatic rescue at a Bay Area rapid transit station. An unidentified man was drunk and accidentally fell onto the tracks there. Rapid transit employee John O'Connor grabbed the man and pulled him back onto the platform just in the nick of time.
Yeah, that was close.
O'Connor is a former train operator himself. He's worked for BART for 24 years. A passenger who witnessed the episode posted the video on Twitter of the 2 men hugging afterward. This all happened after an NFL game between the Oakland Raiders and the Detroit Lions.
Glad that he's okay.
Yeah.
Another close call involving a train was caught on camera. The video shows the train hitting the SUV moments after a person safely got out.
And incredibly, no one was hurt. Brittany Thomason has the story.
After it all happened so fast, I cried because I don't believe I did what I did.
Halloween just passed. Yet this might be the scariest moment you've seen all week.
It became like a hare getting hit by her car when the impact hit the train.
You see this red truck rear ends the SUV, pushing it under the drop-down arm.
Oh my God, I got out of my truck, ran to her. Get out, you're gonna get hit, you're gonna get hit.
Tons of people come to help the woman in the SUV.
She was in shock. She goes, I don't know what to do. I go, you gotta get out of here, we're gonna get hit.
As everyone is gathered around the SUV to help, the train slams into it.
And as I pulled her out, we ran backwards and the train hit the truck and we came this close to getting hit by her car.
Thankfully, police say no one was hurt.
It just happened so fast. I was just thinking of her. I just couldn't let her get hurt.
For hours, police tape and cones blocked on the school until finally the train started moving off the tracks. Police removed the tape, opening the roads. A tow truck takes the SUV and truck.
I don't see myself as a hero. I mean, I work in a hospital. I just feel it was my daily duty.
Saving the day and possibly lives.
ABC 21 is digging deeper.